So last week we saw the much anticipated PC release of Stellar Blade, and needless to say, its launch was nothing short of phenomenal, with nearly 200k peak concurrent players on Steam. High praise from users and fans alike, and of course 3 million in sales. And don't get me started on just the incredible mod support. So much so that ShiftUp's own CEO has thrown down the gauntlet, challenging modders to do better. Or shift it up, as they say. However, amidst all the praise and celebrations, there was plenty of meltdowns, plenty of coping, plenty of crashouts coming from the usual suspects, mainly the game's journalist. With all of these crashouts that I've seen, with all of these meltdowns that I've seen over Stellar Blade's success and its appealing character design in Eve, it makes me realize that a game with satisfying, enjoyable combat, a good story to follow, a world that is very enthralling, and a lovely, lovely female protagonist should not have been made in this day and age. And quite frankly, I'm happy to be in a time where it actually was made. Let's get right into it, shall we? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. My name is Makini90, Arts Journeyman Illustrator. Welcome you to another video here on the Makini Draws channel. Hope you all are doing well today. And yes, we are talking about the absolute success of Stellar Blade and why it matters in this industry, why it matters in this time right now in the video game industry. First off, let's go ahead and get some of the facts out of the way. The game was launched on PC last week to overwhelming praise from users and fans alike. The mod support has been preparing for this moment in this final release, and as of this recording, there are pages and pages of mods on both Nexus mods, Ayaka mods, and other mod sites that you can find just on Stellar Blade alone. And so much so that ShiftUp's own CEO Kim Yuntae has thrown down the gauntlet, encouraging modders to shift it up, as they say. Shift up their game. Step up their game, basically. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the modders can really come up with once they get the full experience of the game and get all the tools right in their hand. But on top of that, at the time of this recording, the Shift Up has also announced that Stellar Blade across PC and PS5 has reached 3 million copies, and that is definitely a milestone, especially for a brand new IP like Stellar Blade. However, yeah, the crashouts, the meltdowns, everybody has seen it. There have been so many videos talking about it over this weekend. I want to provide my personal thoughts on this one as well. Let's get right into it. Before we do, smack that like button, make it jiggle, smack that subscribe button, and make it jiggle. Now, first off, from my personal experience, I have been playing the PC version on since Saturday. If you guys saw the P Gaming episode, go ahead and check that out. I am loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. Despite that, I got a potato PC. It's good enough for me. It's still the same Stellar Blade that I've came to fall in love with since I first played the demo last year. Speaking of which, the Nikkei DLC is just such a beautiful, faithful love letter to that franchise, and it's done with such inadequate detail. It's just absolutely enthralling. Absolutely loving it, going through it. Frankly, I can't sing my praises enough for this game, and this is why I think it matters, because you guys know, I have vehemently, across multiple live streams since 2024, defended this game, defended everything that this game stands for. I have done 2 full playthroughs on my channel, and now, a year later, I am on my 6th playthrough of this game. That's how much I love it. So, when I heard about the Meltdowns and crashouts over the PC launch, especially with the mod support, I was the least bit shocked. Let's put it this way. PC Gamer is kind of one of the bigger culprits of this because, you know, Joshua Woolens puts out this whole article about, you know, Gooner Game of the Year, Stellar Blade, you know, getting the PC launches, and how, you know, us Gooners, you know, people who enjoy the more spicier adult mods that have been taken over at the top of the mod sites for Stellar Blade, will never see heaven. I find it very funny, and I find it beyond hypocritical for someone like Joshua Woolens, a PC Gamer, to say that, considering the fact that he has at least 2 articles with him basically gooning over the bare sex scene in Baldur's Gate 3, as well as, what was that? A $20,000 fully customizable Baldur's Gate 3 Asterion sex doll. That's not. Of course. I could also point out the fact that you know, PC Gamer has multiple articles on Baldur's Gate 3 about its the schlong, basically the schlong physics, and as well as a mod doing an entire mod article talking about a mod to have your character have a bigger schlong. I can also add vice to this mix, you know, with them kind of like sarcastically, you know, saying that, you know, it's Stellar Blade 1 because of its thirsty fan base, despite the fact that Vice is a known culprit for having a very unpleasant writer who went on a 3-hit piece on a certain Fox VTuber, a controversial Fox VTuber, and it was revealed that they have some very creepy, and I mean very creepy, kind of visions and dreams in regards to, you know, cis hetero women and grooming facilities. I don't want to get into that, but what I do want to get into is just going through all of these articles, going through all of these, just the generous, just the pot calling the kettle black, basically, because I saw a lot of hypocrisy, and it reminds me all the way back to what we saw with Stellar Blade's initial release. You guys remember, you know, the infamous Alex of Digital Foundry, which I will happily share this lovely tidbit that will live in internet infamy forever.
For that. The one thing, I know you were talking about the character from a bygone era. I do think the character model was actually like very distracting in not a good way, because like with the camera angles chosen, it just felt like this game seems like a game that came out in like 2002 in terms of its, you know, like character design. It's like a bit old and not flattering, I don't think, for a modern audience. In comparison to something like Forspoken, which has, you know, I mean, yes, it has a much more realistic looking character designs. It's not these hyper proportioned something or another's, but it also seemed, I don't know, a bit more grounded in a way that I found much more appealing.
These hyper proportioned something or another's, but it also seemed it's like a bit old and not flattering, I don't think, for a modern audience.
You serious?
Yeah, there was that. Then, of course, you know, let's not forget the IGN France, editor-in-chief and IGN France writer, who said that, you know, Stellar Blade was a, you know, Eve is basically a sex doll made by a Made by somebody who's never seen a real woman, despite the fact that Kim Hyun-tae, the CEO of Shift Up, his wife is on the art team for Stellar Blade. And if I'm correct, a good portion of Shift Up, of course the same team who also made the big jiggly waifu gacha game that has swept the nation, Goddess of Victory Nikkei, are women. They had to retract that statement and offer a full apology, but it wasn't until a leak, especially found on Reddit, where the editor-in-chief at IGN France basically was saying that, Eve's design, Eve's appeal in Stellar Blade is causing women to commit self-harm and to game in themselves, apparently. Because, the patriarchy and male gaze and all that, right? Yeah, that didn't go well either, didn't it? Yeah, no, it didn't. See, the funny thing, and I think it'll recognize a pattern over the years as I've seen, more and more people melt down, more and more people bring up the fact that we're only championing the game for its, appeal to Eve with, not completely ignoring the fact that we love the combat, players love the combat, players are enthralled in the story. You can call it predictable, you can call it, general basic whatsoever. You can see the signs in there whatsoever. People still enjoy the story, they enjoy the world, they enjoy the characters, they enjoy, for me personally, I have enjoyed the design of the world, the design of the characters, especially the Naytibas, the boss designs, the fact that they're all made by hand, they're all hand sculpted before turning into 3D models, is truly incredible. I mean that, truly on an artistic level, this is incredible. And especially you have to appreciate the fact that on a technical level, this game, and I played my first playthrough during, pre-day one censorship patch, obviously, had very little bugs and glitches. How rare it is to see that in a current, AAA game nowadays. Also, I wouldn't be remiss by the fact that, the supposed Gooner Game of the Year is the most successful PlayStation launch on Steam, beating out pretty much every single other PS game launch that came out, including Spider-Man 2, Last of Us 2 Remastered, God of War Ragnarok, the list goes on and on. Let's not also forget that the fact that it's closely near 200k players, 200k peak concurrent players on Steam, which means it beats out the likes of Assassin's Creed Shadows and Dragon Age: The Veilguard. By the way, they're still coping over that. They're still, Jason Schreier wrote a little bit of an article regarding, Dragon Age: The Veilguard's failure without even addressing the blatant elephant in the room. However, I'm going to address that elephant in the room, especially in regards to Cellblade, because I'm noticing a pattern. I'm noticing a trend, basically, when it regards to Stellar Blade, and why I personally think that the success of this game is seen as a legitimate threat to this industry. You look at Eve's design and how much her appeal, her sex appeal, her beauty, her attractiveness has caused such a stir within the industry since, before launch. You look at the endless evidence of female characters who were deliberately, and I mean deliberately, made unattractive, made unappealing, deliberately made ugly in some cases. And you wonder how it's usually coming from Western developers, yet the East has shown time and time again that seems to not be a problem. I think about let's just say the mindset when it comes to the sheer hypocrisy with sites like PC Gamer, people like PC Gamer who are, criticizing the game, criticizing Stellar Blade for its, appealness of Eve, but in that same light, basically gooning, praising over, the sex scenes in Baldur's Gate 3. The sex doll, basically. A lot of these, let's just say, more degenerate stuff that you won't find in Stellar Blade, apparently. There was a tweet that went out that went over the list of games that have all of these sex scenes and plenty of gratuitous sex scenes, from the likes of Baldur's Gate 3 to Mass Effect to Dragon Age Inquisition to Cyberpunk. And yet, when you look at Stellar Blade, despite the fact that it has been lambasted, it has been criticized, it has been attacked for having that sex appeal, which you think that these journalists would praise, has zero sex scenes whatsoever. I find it funny that when it comes to the more games that have that general appeal, that have that general plays, but have all these more explicit sex scenes, they're always getting praise. But yet, when you see a more fan service heavy title, a more appealing title like Stellar Blade, and it gets ripped to shreds, it gets attacked endlessly. And I think this is a blatant elephant in the room, and I think this is a blatant, this is an opinion that I think is not going to win me any friends, is not going to win me any favors, but I can't deny this. The thing is that the Stellar Blade exposes the sheer hypocrisy of the journalists, of all these detractors, simply because the game appeals to a heterosexual, male-dominated audience. In other words, Stellar Blade is not queer enough. Yeah, I said it. I think about a lot of the degeneracy, especially coming from people who criticize like Stellar Blade and lambast its fans and audience for being gooners and pers and incels, whatever buzzwords you want to throw at them. Seems to have skeletons to hide in their closet because they love to goon over what is very much degenerate stuff from a very queer mindset, from a very queer ideological point. And I think about the infamous Stacey Henley over at The Gamer, who threw a fit over players having the freedom to mod their characters to make them look more prettier, who had a problem with Cammy's classic costume coming back in Street Fighter 6, saying that, that should not be the case. And by the way, people like Stacey Henley fit into the T side of that. I try so hard not to throw shade at the community, but it's clear, crystal clear, that you're totally fine with you gooning, lusting, or, getting all up in arms, getting all hot and bothered over the degenerate stuff in your content that you consume. However, when it comes to a straight cis, I guess you want to put it, a heterosexual male who wants to enjoy the likes of, say, a big jiggly waifu gacha game like Zenless, or say Brown Dust 2, or Stellar Blade, which is not a gacha game, or even Senran Kagura, or Dead or Alive. we're called we're called this, that, or third. We're gooners, we're degenerates, we're incels, we never met a real woman. It's such hypocritical projection, and it's why I find Stellar Blade to be honestly one of the most important launches in recent memory, because let's be honest, we're at a time now where you are so lambasted for wanting to appreciate femininity, to want to appreciate actual beauty. And it's coming from people who want to throw so many different flags, so many different labels on themselves to be unique, to be special, to stand out, to grab for attention. Who have a problem with a female character, a fictional female character, looking pretty, looking attractive, having a cup size that is, bigger than the industry standard, what the industry allows. I think I'm at a point where the term over-sexualization is a nothing burger to me, because your boos mean nothing. We know what makes you cheer. We know what gets you off, basically. You can throw over-sexualization. You can throw how it hurts women. You can pull all those old-ass Gigi, Anita Sarkeesian talking points. The ones that people like Neil Druckmann love to praise all the damn time. Love to praise, though, by the way.
And I wonder what are going to be her inspirations. What are the things that she's going to be kind of really attracted to and attached to as she grows up. And as a game creator, I look around at kind of what we are making and what are going to be her role models from the stories. And I don't like what I see. More specifically, I'm talking about our female characters. And whether we want to admit it or not, these are role models. And yet we sexualize, we objectify, we marginalize, and we reduce these female characters to a lot less than they can be. And this is coming from a guy that almost made a really misogynistic game. So I kind of know what I'm talking about. So once this thing failed and I had this awakening, almost exactly at the same time, this Kickstarter happened about the tropes versus women in video games. And while you might argue with the way it delivers its message or whether every point is exact, you can't argue with just the pattern that you see in the industry. So I was really intrigued by this. The videos for the video games hadn't come out yet, but I watched the rest of Anita's videos, and I realized it's not just a problem in games, it's actually throughout entertainment.
You could throw those out. But yet, when it's something that you're into, when it's something that gets you off, when it's something that gets you excited, we can't say anything. We're not allowed to say anything because, identity, representation, whatever you want, a stupid ass excuse you want to put out. In that sense, I see Stellar Blade as a threat. I see this game as a true threat to the industry, because Stellar Blade, as you know damn well, is more than just a pretty face. I've defended this game for a long time. For a year now. I have supported this game for a year because Shift Up has, honestly, with my time with Gods of Victory Nikkei, Shift Up has done me hasn't done me wrong. And I can tell that this comes from a team with so much passion, with so much love for the medium, with coming from someone who has a vision. Stellar Blade would have been conceded if Goddess of Victory Nikkei didn't become the hit it is. And that was the confidence that Kim Hyun-tae needed to put his vision, to put this dream to life. And I'm genuinely grateful for this game. I'm genuinely grateful that he did do that, because I've beaten this game 4 times, and every time I never get bored. I never lose interest. I'm always excited. I'm always enjoying. There's always moments, always favorite moments I have. There's new favorite moments I discover. So much of Stellar Blade has put such a huge smile on my face every time I play it. It feels like it's taking you back to, the 6th and 7th gen consoles, but in the best way though. And I think that in that sense, Stellar Blade has done so much that it can be seen as a legit threat. The way it affects people, the way people react to this game. I love it, I love it personally. That's how it reacted to me. And I said that, Stellar Blade was my favorite game of last year. It was my game of the year, 2024. But now after experiencing the story 4 times, after hundreds and hundreds of play hours unlocking all of the costumes, defeating all the bosses, experiencing the world and his characters, doing all the side missions and such like that, I think I can confidently say from the bottom of my heart that Stellar Blade was not only my favorite game of 2024, but Stellar Blade is on that list of my favorite video games of all time. I love this game. I love everything about this game. And I will step up the bat for this game because I truly feel that it is a great game. And it represents something that is sorely needed nowadays. The fun, the appeal, the hope, the escape, the characters, everything, I think the industry would benefit if we see more beautifully crafted titles like Stellar Blade exist. And I think we'd all be better off for it, That's my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comment section down below. I know I'm glazed this game too much, but I mean it when I say it. I legitimately love this game. And I don't say that about a lot of games lately, especially from this generation. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts, guys. And let me know if you guys are playing this on PC or on console. Let me know what your favorite mods are so far, especially if you're playing this on PC. Anyway, smack that like button, make it jiggle. Smack that subscribe button, make it jiggle. Massive thank you to everyone in the cute, sexy, and fun nation. You guys are truly incredible. If you want to see your name on the screen, join the channel for as low as $1 a month to get access to exclusive art drops that I do every 2 months for my channel members. And all of your support is greatly appreciated. I wouldn't be doing this without you guys. And like I always say, I don't deserve the audience that I have right now. Anyway, you can follow me on Twitter, Newgrounds, Etsy shop. All the links are in the description. And that's it. I thank you all for watching. I'm Machiny90, artist, journeyman, and illustrator. And I'll see you all next time for another video. So until then, stay cute, stay sexy, have fun, take care, much love. Never, ever, under any circumstance, apologize for wanting attractive women in your media, especially in your video games, because when you don't apologize, you're going to get bangers like Stellar Blade. Shift Up didn't apologize. Shift Up embraced it, and look at them now. Never stop drawing. And above all else, may your memories live on forever. Bye, y'all.